What's up, everybody? It's Cell from Celljoy here, and I'm just saying hey to our creative community and what you've been working on lately. I've been putting my iPad through its paces, and we recently had some success in taking a song from start to finish. We took it from its pre-production stage. We recorded all the tracks in here, vocals, lead vocals, everything. And we've been having a great time working on this interface. It's just been fresh. Being able to get into editing right here on the screen and being able to manipulate variables right here on the screen. This is by no means a slick digital touch interface, but it is nice to be able to have the flexibility to work in this way. So we're enjoying it. My wife and I, we just released a single. It's called Sufficient. And so we get a chance to put some music out as well as share how we did it. So here I have some tracks on my screen. As you can see, I've got a lot of vocal tracks here. We've got tenor parts, alto parts, soprano parts, four-part harmonies, and then we've got our lead stuff going on over here. So there's a number of things that I could share with you today, but all of this was produced here. Now, some tracks up here I did bounce out to audio just so I can do the final mixing on them, and you can see how the audio tracks all panned out here. But I'll let you get a look at one of the tracks that I was using. It's called Splat to Clat, and this is by gospel musicians. This is an absolutely fantastic plugin, and it gives you the opportunity to use a lot of really urban sounding tracks. I could tell you I used some of the kicks from this loop right here. Let me see if I can play this loop. As you can hear, a lot of these samples are really robust and crispy, and this kick definitely got used. That clap, snap. Oh yeah. Now, this is a great app because it already comes with some samples that have a pattern in there. You can choose to use the pattern, or you can simply come in here and you can decide to edit this and remove the pattern completely. So you have access to just using the samples by themselves and record into your DAW. Now, what I will say about this is that if you're going to use this to record into your DAW, you may want to use your play surface. So if you want to hit P on your keyboard and bring up your play surface, here you can switch to drum pads, okay? And then from here you can start to trigger the samples that are there and record this way. Some of the plugins, some of the third-party plugins won't allow you to necessarily use the interface, the plugin interface itself, to input MIDI notes into the DAW. So I found with this particular plugin, at times it would not let me do that. So I would use the play surface just to bring up the pads and then find my sample and record that way. Okay, so that's a way around getting around some of the third-party plugins. But of course, Splat to Clat is absolutely amazing. Go check it out. I'm probably going to link it up in my description so that you guys can get a hold of that. But I want to let you guys hear and see the vocal stacks that we did together, my wife and I.
Sometimes my cares get so weighty, and I want God to take it. He said my grace is sufficient for you, sufficient for you. I said that answer, I don't like it. I feel my strength is getting weary. He said, my grace is sufficient for you, sufficient for you. More grace, more grace, more grace. More grace, more grace, more grace.
And here's where I did some of my post mixing here. For the vocal reverb, I used Mixbox and used the plate reverb just to wet it a little bit. The microphone I used gave me lots of highs. Any tape delay, I used the stock tape delay for that. I went really minimal on the vocal chain and really let the vocal stacks themselves do or provide the texture that I needed for the vocals. So it's really not a whole lot that I did here. And I gotta say, out of this track, from some of the other songs that we're working on for our next record, this one had the most minimal production, but I think sometimes less is more. And there are some really great stock Logic patches in here which do a great job of stacking some sounds together. So here we have this patch that I found in here. It's called Neon Drive, and it basically layers a string layer. We got a retro synth going on in here, and this is a really cool setting or preset that I found. I didn't really need to do much tweaking to it. It was already given what I needed it to give. So as you can see in this retro synth, there's a little bit of vibrato going on at the end. I love the way this is laid out, and it's just giving me lots of controls here. And but this is layered. This is layered with an arpeggiator and another retro synth. Okay, and there's settings in here. So we've got some MIDI action going from the arpeggiator. Okay, and again, Logic is really streamlined how these plugins look and how they behave. Some people like it, some people hate it. And, you know, I found some other YouTubers who actually hate the way the plugins are laid out, and they wish they had their own unique characteristics instead of this streamlined, very stoic look and pulled back look. I guess it's a motif that Logic is going with, but this particular plugin was giving me the sound that I needed. So, you know, you can get around the UI and learn some things, but it was giving me the sound that I needed. This is actually at the core of the track. So all of that is happening right in the middle of the track, filling up the space with the texture, the width of the track. All of that is happening, and I love how the arpeggiator is keeping the track moving. So sometimes it's about the elements that are in your music arrangement. That's what's adding the ear candy, okay? Not necessarily all of the mix plugins, but it's what the actual musical elements are doing that can add a lot of worth and meat to your track. So that's what's going on at the middle of the track. The rest is splat to clat, and of course we got that mute bass patch that is also stock. This stuff just sounds really good, really warm. I've used some other mobile DAWs like Cubase's 3. GarageBand has some of this, but not all of this. That's here in Logic Pro. And I've also tried Beatmaker as well. There's some great patches in there. What I love about Logic, it's giving you really meaty samples, beefy samples, bright samples, things that you can take right from start to finish in your production, from pre-production to post-production. You can go all the way. If you know what you're doing and you know how to use these plugins, you can really get some great production done. So. You guys get a feel for what's going on in this track. You can get this track, you can download it now. It's actually available in stores. And the track is called Sufficient, and it's by Selwyn and Michelle. That's me and my wife. So the question I wanted to ask is a mobile DAW sufficient? See what I did there? Is it sufficient to get pro level work done? Now, you can put some average tools in the hands of someone capable, and they can do something great with it. And you can even put professional tools in the hands of someone who is kind of okay at doing it, and they can still get something good out of it. What I like about Logic Pro is that it sits right in the middle of the consumer market, what we would call a prosumer product. Okay. Now, the predecessor, the desktop variant of this, goes a little bit deeper. It goes way deeper, in fact, into more editing tools. And when I got to the mastering stage, I said, let me actually export this out of here and bring it into a desktop session where I had some more mastering plugins that I could really squeeze more life out of it, get some more clarity out of it. I had a different palette of plugins over on the desktop side, so that's why I chose to master it there. But it doesn't mean that you can't master on the iPad. You absolutely can. There's some amazing mastering plugins that you can use. We've got Lurison Mastering Console from IK Multimedia. We've also got Logic's Mastering Assistant, which I actually used on the instrumental version of this track, just to make it pop a little more. So you have access to some great mastering tools. I've used them for other songs, other projects, and other clients, but for this particular song, I wanted it to hit in a certain way, and I also wanted the mid-range to come out a little bit more full and give me a little bit more punch. So I used some different plugins on the desktop side. So I'm beginning to see that Logic is not just an app on the iPad, but rather I'm looking at it as a platform for music creation, both on the desktop side and in the mobile space. And if we begin to look at things that way, there's less critique about whether the app can do everything you need it to do, or whether the desktop can give you the flexibility and mobility that you need, or the laptop can give you the flexibility and mobility, or even the cost effectiveness of creating songs. Because you guys know that plugins on the laptop or desktop are significantly more expensive, but they don't necessarily sound that much better. You come over to the mobile platform, you have access to a plethora of audio plugins, software instruments, VSTs, AU instruments, all kinds of apps that are leveraging this mobile space, multi-touch interface. The plugin can literally be whatever the creator or the developer needs it to be, and we get the ability to manipulate things on a multi-touch level, which gives us much more flexibility than having to fool around with mice and keys. All right, so those of you in the mobile space, you already know the amount of creativity on an iPad can far exceed that of a desktop and a laptop, just based on the UI, the user interface. There's more you can do in this space here. Now, does that mean that one is more powerful than the other? You don't have to choose. You don't necessarily have to choose. Treat Logic as a platform. Use some of your desktop sounds and plugins and bounce them out and bring them into the mobile space work with your mobile plugins, bounce those down to audio as well, and then do your mixing on whichever platform you choose, whichever one is giving you the palette of plugins that you are looking for. So as we get more versions of this, we're going to see the two start to merge and get a little bit more close together in terms of functionality and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. But this is a song that I produced on the iPad and exported it out, mastered it on desktop. But as I am loading things up to my various distributor stores, whether that's Amazon Prime Music, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, I'm doing all of that on the iPad. So I gotta say, about 95 to 98% of the work I did on this song was done sufficiently on the iPad. All right, so this is where we're at, and I promised you guys that I'd be working on projects on here and sharing it and putting it out there. So do me a favor, if you like what you're hearing, the song's Sufficient. It's available in stores now, produced on iPad, produced on Logic Pro for the iPad, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey, if you enjoyed today's video and this content is really helping you in your creative space, go ahead and leave me a like and a subscription. We're gonna have more videos coming out to you, and if there's something that you would like to see, drop me a comment. And if there's something that you would like to offer feedback on, feel free, get to typing. I try to respond to as many comments as I can and share what I used, how I did it. So feel free, guys, to connect, and look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.